Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Mike Lebrun, and I'm going to be your host today, and I'm interviewing for the best of the best. They call it the cream of the crop in Max International. They're an inspiration to many, many hundreds, and if not thousands of people. I've interviewed them many, many, many times, and you're going to get to hear from them and their background and why. And we're going to be talking about these products, and the science of ribosine technology. So I'm going to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. How are you? Are you doing well?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
All right. So my first question, let's get right into it. My first question is, what is your name and what is your background so people can get a feel of who you are? And let's start with Mr. Csaba Lendvay.
Oh, my name is Csaba Lendvay, as you mentioned. I'm a chemist by training. I was obsessed with chemistry when I was a kid. I really liked organic chemistry, analytical chemistry. And then I worked through decades in chemical manufacturing, formulation development, two big areas, pesticides and pharmaceuticals. And after that, I moved into technology, computers. And I'm still there as a technology consultant. I think that's enough.
Wow, amazing. So you went from chemist to literally, I'm going to say the word, you're really good at computer like a hacker, right? Is that correct?
Well,
correct.
Yeah.
I love it. Mr. John Hobbs.
Oh, I'm John Hobbs. At the end of 2019, I ended a 50-year career. That's right, half a century, in a particular specialty. Over the last 3 decades of that career, I was a senior consultant primarily to government organizations. And prior to becoming a consultant, I was a senior executive at a Canadian division of a multinational insurance company. The spectrum of business areas I helped with my consulting was quite broad. But what may be of interest is that over several projects spanning a couple of decades, I provided expertise and assistance in the organization responsible for delivery of public health and medical services to about 13 million people. This included things like business systems needed to manage service delivery and protect patient information. As well, I provided support for special areas like delivery of services to high-risk families with young children and people in abuse situations. So I guess that reflects both my analytical approach to things and accounts for my concerns for health in general and at-risk women and children.
Amazing, amazing.
That's it.
Emily and Kim.
All right, so my name's Emily. I am a recent graduate from my master's in professional kinesiology. Currently a personal trainer and soon to be kinesiology, and a big focus on improving functionality and how to increase people's well-being and just help them live a healthier life. And I think that Western medicine has its place, but the natural power of medicine and the body is so fascinating to me. So that's kind of what I'm exploring.
And Emily, you are 23-year-old, am I correct?
Yes, I am. Soon to be 20.
I love it, I love it, love it. I love it. And this is Emily's mom, Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Clark, and I've been in healthcare for over 35 years now. I began my career as a nurse in Newfoundland and quickly realized that it was addressing symptoms rather than solutions. So I explored and focused on cellular health, and just realizing that cellular health is the fundamental piece to overall health. So Max really, I started, I guess, my career after nursing in structural manual therapy, looking at the effects of mechanical stress on the cell. And now looking at Max 5 years ago, I realized there's more pieces to improving cell function, which Max addresses brilliantly. So,
since I've already got you, Kim, why don't you tell the world how or why did you get involved in Max?
I actually have a wellness clinic north of Toronto, and I was interviewing a nurse to offer services at my clinic, and she just came in and we talked about what she had to offer, and then she said, you ever heard of glutathione? And I said, yes, a few times, but
Wow.
don't quite get there's just something missing. I said, what's different in what you're going to tell me about glutathione versus what I've heard in the past? And she said one thing to me that stood out, and that she said, glutathione gets destroyed in the gut. And with our technology, it safely gets through the gut and gets to every single cell in the body. And when she said that, and she spoke more on the science, I was sold.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Emily.
Well, I got into Max because of my mom. She came home with all this information, and we kind of sat down and we explored the science together. And it was amazing. There's so many products on the market, but not a lot of them have the science behind it. Not a lot of them have what Max has. So after taking the products for a few months, I noticed a lot of differences in my training and in my body and in my function and energy. And so we decided to keep exploring. And here we are today, almost 6 years later, and still amazed every single day.
Yeah, we just want to see the world now. We're so excited.
I know, it's amazing. And what I love the most about you, Emily, is, you're 23 years old and you see what these products are doing to your body. Can you imagine when you're going to be 40 and 50 and 60, you're going to be on fire. So I can't wait. Just amazing. John.
Well,
Absolutely.
so many people got involved being excited with what they saw. I was resistant. A friend whom I trusted asked me to take a look at the business, and it used a network marketing business model, and I was very skeptical. I'd been involved with another MLM company before, and it did not work out well for me. And I swore to myself, if this was what network marketing was about, I would never get involved in another one again in my life. But I agreed to go to the opportunity meeting with her, and I had every intention of afterward politely telling her I was not interested. I was not open to this kind of business at all. And then when the presentation started addressing products and possible benefits, my skepticism went into really high gear. The health impacts they were implying just could not possibly be true. But then I wondered about that. I figured, well, they couldn't say this and stay in business if it was all just marketing hype. So maybe my attitude adjusted, but only slightly. They'd have to prove the implied claims to this analytical mind of mine. So afterward, when Ingrid asked me what I thought, my response was, well, it's interesting, but you're going to have to send me a lot of information about the underlying science and send me the compensation plan as well. Well, she sent me several science-related links and a copy of the compensation plan document, and she gave me a product sample. Long story short, I dug into the science quite a bit of detail, and it seemed to support what was implied in the presentation. So that was a good starting point. She provided
Absolutely.
a list of diseases and conditions, including a nasty condition my sister had. And I said, if this can help her, maybe it's worth getting involved. And then I tried the product sample and I experienced an effect within 5 hours. So the rest is history.
Don't you love it? I love stories like this. And Csaba. Oh,
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Mr. Csaba. It's going to be better. I love it. I love it.
Sorry, I just
Csaba, the IT.
just,
I know.
It's tough. It's tough. This technology.
I know, Csaba, first. I know it's tough being at the chalet. I'm sorry that we had to bother you on vacation, but you got to go ahead. You got to go ahead.
All right. So it's been a while. 15 years ago, I was researching stuff for my wife. She had some crazy allergic reactions and none of the doctors could handle it. So I was looking for something to clean up the gunk inside her or whatever that might be. So I stumbled on glutathione and glutathione accelerators and Max's product. So I tried the product myself first and I was stunned. I was a coffee addict, so to speak. I still obsessed with coffee machines and preparing the best espresso. So I was up to 10, 15 espressos a day. I really like to be high energy, and I was until my hands were trembling a little bit at the end of the day. And I started on, that time we had only one product, Max GXL, and I took the prescribed dose, and my craving for coffee disappeared, and I had higher energy and pure energy, because I used to drink a jar of cream to keep my stomach in place. And I didn't need that because I was getting wider and wider horizontally. And after that, products started to come out one after the other, and I tested those as they came. And then, of course, Mike pushed me a little bit into the business side, which I realized there is a good opportunity to spread the news and talk to more and more people about your experience. What I found that actually trying the product really tells you the story. You can go analytical and you can dig into books and read thousands of pages that might convince your brain, but until you actually try the products, it's just information. And once you see the actual change in your body, it's just stunning. And that extra energy, even now I have more energy than people half my age, and I can work longer hours and more awake and not passing out halfway in the day. So it's just a good thing. I'm sticking with it, and I like it.
Absolutely. This next question is going to be for Csaba Lendvay. Csaba, why do you believe so much in these products? As a chemist, not as an IT specialist, but as a chemist, why do you believe so much in these products?
Well, as an IT specialist, you work long hours and in the night. So
see what I mean? It's both connected. That's why I said it.
I just explained it, but that's really so. It's not just a vitamin or just a supplement. It's really hitting an important part of our lives. It's related to glutathione, which we don't have in any of our products. We don't even have ATP in our products. But our body does use glutathione quite a bit. And that's the science behind it. Most of our products, with the exception of two, are glutathione accelerators, which help the body to produce enough glutathione on demand as your body needs it. And then glutathione does all those miracles people might tell you about. It's not our products. Our products just helps the body to do the thing as it is. And that's what I really like, the clean, clear science. I understand why it is happening, and I experience how it is happening. And if you look at other people, if you share with them, they are just stunned, and you can't even steal the product back from them. They would never return it. They just want to have it and more. And I see how their life changes. Like I went through my kids being at university and growing up. And when you are in university, you are exposed to different events, let's say like 5 parties a day, 7 days a week kind of stuff. And then you have your hangover issues. And I was just laughing my head off how my kids handled the situation with the product. But it's just
true statement. I've been there.
Yeah, it's well, basically glutathione cleans out the leftovers from hangovers, and that helps if you can increase your glutathione production. So these are the things which really help me stick with the products, and I really have tried all of them, using most of them, and I'm staying with it.
Now, this next question, Emily, why do you believe in the product? As a, what did you say? What is it you do for a living again? Tell everybody so we can be reminded.
I'm a personal trainer, and I'm soon to be a kinesiologist, just waiting for those registration steps that take.
In the gym, how does these products affect your workout?
So when I think of the gym specifically, my mind goes to ATP, which is probably one of my favorite products. I've used it a couple different ways. So when I started on Max, I was in university. I was in my bachelor for kinesiology, and I took it for 2 reasons. So before every single exam, or on really long study nights when I would sometimes take pre-workout to stay awake, I started taking Max, and the clearness and the ability to focus on what I was doing was amazing. I wouldn't write an exam without it after I started taking it, because I get distracted easily, as most of us do in today's age. And the focus was amazing. But then in the gym, I was about after 2 months of taking the product. I wasn't sore after a big workout. Like, I would wake up the next day and my body felt amazing. And I'm like, am I missing something? Am I not training hard enough? Like, what was going on? So I really tried to push my limits, and I just noticed that my recovery was accelerated, like drastically. So I stopped taking other supplements that I was taking, you know, all the BCAAs and the pre-workout and all that other chemical stuff. And I focused on the max, the ATP specifically. And I saw improvements in my training. I saw improvements in my body's ability to recover, my body's ability to build strength at a faster level. And I take it sometimes on mornings that I'm really tired. I'll take it before my workout. And if I'm feeling good, I'll take it after my workout, because it's energy, but it's also recovery. So as a personal trainer, it's something that I definitely talk to my clients about, because no one likes that. Soreness is a good feeling, but at the same time, when you can't move for a couple of days, it's not, and then you can't train, right? So it's been a game changer in my training, and it's really allowed me to kind of push my limits and not feel like I couldn't get out of bed the next day.
Absolutely. Thank you. You know, so this next question is going to be for Kim and John. Which one is your favorite product or products? And let's start with Kim and go to John after.
That's a tough one, because I knew this question was going to be proposed. And I guess for me, the Cellgevity, given that it pretty much has the ribosine technology and the 12 synergistic ingredients, is jam-packed and really delivers. And then to add to that, I like the Infuse, because you have all the extra vitamins that help the glutathione and support glutathione in the body. But then I move on to the ATP, and I consider I run 2 businesses and I live a very active life. And about 6 weeks into taking the products 5 years ago, my focus and clarity to run the businesses and my energy to do so and play hard and work hard, it just was amazing. So the Max 1 I like to have on the side if I find that I've missed my afternoon Cellgevity dose, because it won't keep me up at night, and I could take it probably closer to bed. And I'm not, John could speak probably on the switch. I'm not really, that's not one of the products that I utilize. The GXL I do like for joint support. So yeah, they all offer something different, but they're packaged and so synergistically effective. You can take all of them, and just depends on what you need for that day. But overall, the Cellgevity and Infuse, and I love the oils. I love the unique premium blend where they offer oils that no other oil offers, and supports the gut absorption. And that's huge, as we know, because the gut health drives the brain health. And yeah, they're just really a number of products, but only a few in the big picture, because you go to the health food store, what do you take? So you can pretty much take a max protocol of, say, 4 supplements or whatever, and pretty much hit every target of what your daily requirements are.
Now, some of you by now are saying to yourself, now you know why I'm interviewing these people. You see how incredible they are and what the information they're going to give you. John, you're next, my friend.
Well, let me start off by saying that I currently have all of our cellular health nutritional products, as well as the Switch weight loss product. Now, the thing is, the Switch works. Many people have seen my weight loss story, so I'm not going to go into that. I've taken 357 since it came out because of the science behind it is solid. I've noticed a few visible effects like my nails, but other enhancements are less noticeable. I expect my cardiologist will be happy, even though I'm not going to tell him I'm taking it. I take max ATP when I need to be creative or have mental focus. And I haven't been to the gym in 2 years, so I don't do the 1-hour workouts that I used to do. I really should do more physical stuff at home. So I haven't been taking my ATP in that context, but I still take it for energy and mental focus. So that leaves the glutathione accelerators, the 3 of them, and Infuse. I used to take Celgevity, Max 1, and Max GXL, all of them. 3 glutathione accelerators because of my age. Now, since watching,
and John, if you don't mind, John, how old are you? So people know, because you look, very young, but very young.
I will be 73 in 2 months. So since watching the Medical Symposium #3, I developed a better understanding of the design rationale behind Celgevity and Infuse. And so I ended up changing my strategy a little bit in the past month. Now I'm taking double the standard dose of Celgevity, and I reserve Max 1 for a booster whenever I feel I might need it. And so far, I haven't needed it. The Max GXL was primarily to help with joint pain for my osteoarthritis. And recently, I came across some information that led me to believe that there may be a larger role for glutathione in reducing that joint pain. So I'm in the coming month, I'm going to try an experiment to see if further upping the ribosine will help with the joint pain instead of the GXL. So stay tuned for the result of that experiment. So in answer to the question, my key products are a combination of multiple Celgevity plus Infuse.
Absolutely, thank you. So this next question, I'm going to ask John, but if somebody wants to elaborate, share their thoughts, John, can anybody take any one of the products, or what would you say if somebody would say, "Can I take this product?"
The simple answer is it depends. And that's a fairly standard consultant response to an apparently simple question, and in reality is very complex. And I got paid well as a consultant explaining complexities to executive managers. So be warned with what's coming. The packaging on every one of our nutritional products says this: this product is not intended for use by children, pregnant women, or nursing mothers. Now, you need to know a couple of things about that notice. First, it's a legal requirement for large numbers of nutritional products manufactured and sold in the United States. Max International is a US-based company, and so it complies. And no Max corporate international person will disagree with the statement. But the second thing you need to understand is that this is a legal notice. It is not, I repeat, not a medical prohibition. It's important you understand that. So where does this leave us? Well, the focus of the notice is children, whether unborn, breastfed newborns, or well-established child. Now, it's a parent's responsibility to make decisions on behalf of their children, but what guidance can we offer to the parent? I'll say a few things about this, but each parent should take this as just input to their decision-making process. Any decision is theirs. Different jurisdictions in the world have different definitions for what it means to be a legal adult. Now, that's just an arbitrary decision made by legislators. From a biological perspective, I'd say that anyone who has passed through puberty may be considered a biological adult and no longer a biological child. So I'm going to talk about considerations for an adult in a moment. But first, we need to talk about the mother when the child is still in the womb or she's breastfeeding her child. Now, there have been no large-scale safety-related clinical trials done with most nutritional supplements on the market, not just Max products, with a focus on this specific demographic. So we just don't know much for certain. A woman in either of these conditions must do her own research and reach her own conclusions, but I can say a couple of things with a fair degree of confidence. First, elevated glutathione will do nothing but improve the health of any individual, regardless of their physical state. So elevated glutathione should improve the probability of a healthy pregnancy and improve the probability of developing a healthy child at any stage. Notice I said improve the probability, not guarantee. Second, ribosine contains D-ribose and L-cysteine. Now, these two things are also in every cell in the body. Delivering more of these cannot, therefore, be considered a risk in any way. But remember, we do not know for certain about the other ingredients that may be in some of our products. So the conclusion is that Max 1, which is pure ribosine, can be given to anyone at any time with a high degree of confidence. In fact, Health Canada identified no contraindications and no known adverse effects in Max 1 in their license. Now, that's as close as any government agency anywhere in the world will get to saying it's safe for anyone to take. Also, you cannot have an allergic reaction to ribosine. You cannot have a negative drug interaction with ribosine. Now let's talk about considerations for a biological adult, which includes both post-puberty teenagers as well as legal adults, including the parent himself or herself. If you've got concerns about any nutritional product, first consult a pharmacist. Your pharmacist is a medical specialist who understands better than just about any other person the issue of possible negative drug interactions with medications you may be taking. They also know about the possible impacts on the human body for large numbers of different substances, so pay attention to their feedback. The other area you need to consider is any sensitivities or allergies you may have to any of the ingredients in the products. You know your own body and your own sensitivities. If you have a concern, research each of the listed ingredients in any product you consider consuming, not just Max products, to determine the potential for a reaction. As for pre-puberty children, the parent will have to consider all of this information and use their best judgment. If they decide to proceed, they may want to consider reducing dosage based on the body mass of the child. Our products are safe. However, you must also consider what is going on in your own body or that of your child to assess whether there may be any unanticipated issues. So that's kind of where I stand on that one.
Perfect. I hope that was satisfying to all of you, because it is amazing once you understand what our product does. And what we do is we raise glutathione in human bodies. So John, thank you for that. And so because of time, we're going to go to the next question is, what do healthy people, when they start taking the product, and what can they start feeling in the first 30, 60, 90 days when you're a healthy person? Kim, I think we should go to you, and then we're going to go to Csaba after.
Well, that's an interesting question, because when you think of healthy, what is healthy? So
let's say healthy.
Yeah. So I felt, and I was very healthy pre-products, and that was part of, even though the science was there, I thought I'd just try the products just because it sounded like, wow, that just made sense. But when I experienced the results from the product, I didn't realize that I could improve upon my health. So it's sort of like there was no comparison. It's like you don't know what you don't know. And over time, things gradually build in your body that, slow you down, but you don't realize because it's so gradual. So with the glutathione levels increasing, it became very obvious that I was able to do more, have more clarity, things of that nature. And I think with glutathione being the master antioxidant and the understanding of what it actually does, and knowing that by the age of 40, our ability to produce it decreases by 10% every decade, why would we not want to enhance something that can help us age more gracefully? So,
and see, this is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so it's like, who doesn't want to age more gracefully? We're all going to age. If we can slow it down a little bit and be healthier, why not?
And this is why I asked the question, because for me, when I got involved in Max 16 years ago now, my mom and my wife and me, my mom, my wife, 72-hour, they had a unbelievable, more energy, more focus, more balance, better sleep. For me, it took me about 70 days. But see, even if I would have not had a product experience, which a lot of my friends haven't, but they know the science behind Max and they believe it, and they say, listen, you know what? My father always said, if you don't pay now, you're going to pay for it later. So you might as well have a lifestyle, because we know most people, the last 5 years of their life, we know there's a study on it. Most people in the last 5 years of their life don't live the quality of life. So definitely, if we can help somebody, we can. Csaba Lendvay, as a chemist, Mr.
Well, when you take it first, as you mentioned, some people don't feel much right away, but takes a couple of months. But for example, for me, I just noted the increase of energy. I really like energy, and I didn't have to add that much coffee. I actually went practically cold turkey on coffee. And that extra energy stays with you, and it's a good energy. It doesn't disturb your stomach, and it just gives you that constant goal. Like people around you just fall aside and ask how much longer are we doing this, or you just notice that others can't handle it that long and that much. And that's just of the energy aspect of it. And other things what glutathione does in our body, it just helps with so many things. People have migraines. You just take some ATP under your tongue and you'd be surprised how fast the migraine goes away, which again, it's due to some of the products absorbing and helping with glutathione production. So some people have instant relief. Some people have an improved health, and other thing, people using these products usually don't get sick too much, maybe once a year or once every other year. I know my kid was at university and she was sick every week. Every other week, she was down for a week. And once I put her on the product, she hardly ever gets something, maybe once or twice a year. So that's general health improvement and increased energy and less pain. Like people with
the beauty of this, the product works when you've got a mom like Kim, when you've got a dad like Csaba, and when you got a dad like me, and your kids come home. Yeah, I remember Emily coming from university, and Kim was telling me this. So they come home and they raid not my kitchen cupboard, but they raid my Max ATP cupboard, my Max. Look at Emily, look at her face. They'd come home and they'd go and they'd say, "Oh, Dad, I'm going to take a box of this and a box of this and a box of this and a box of this." And I say, "Okay, are you going to go to the cash register?" "No," he says, "because I'm your son, I can take it." But bottom line is, we know that they love the product, and as they see it as their children, they see what it does for them, and they see what we do worldwide. So it's really incredible. When you have a product, it works. It works. Now I got to tell you, I was on a conference call with John Hobbs, and this guy, I'm going to call him the magician, because if I have a question on a product or an illness, a disease, and I say, can somebody take this? And he's a researcher. No, that's what he did all his life. He's amazing. And so I had one of my doctor's wife. Now imagine a doctor's wife call me. Her son called me. Sorry. And he said, "Oh my gosh," he says, "my mom took the ATP infuse," and he says, "it's such a good thing I told her about what a niacin flush, because if after she had the niacin flush, she said, oh my gosh, I feel so good." So John, in your expertise, explain to people, how do you get a niacin flush, and what does a niacin flush do for your body?
Well, Max ATP and Enfuse have large amounts of niacinamide in them, among a bunch of other things, including some ribosine. And because of the powder format, they get into your bloodstream very, very quickly. And so you're getting a whole bunch of niacinamide going into the bloodstream quickly. And that's fine, because niacinamide normally breaks down slowly into niacin. And niacin opens up the capillaries, the blood vessels. And the body can handle only so much niacin at a time. However, there are some people that break down niacinamide very quickly into niacin. And the fast breakdown floods the bloodstream with niacin because of how quickly our two powdered products get into the bloodstream. What happens then is the bloodstream stream opens up very quickly, And the result is a fire engine red skin, and it feels very weird. And the first time somebody feels it, they say, oh, I'm having an allergic reaction. No, it's not an allergic reaction. An allergic reaction would be accompanied by hives, and this just doesn't do that. It's not harmful, and it goes away in about 20 minutes. So if you know you are susceptible to flush, or you know somebody who is susceptible to niacin flush, what you do is you recommend that they sip the ATP or the N-Fuse slowly over about 20 minutes, so that it's going into your system at a rate that the body can handle.
Thank you, John. And I got to tell you guys, when I get a niacin flush, very often it's in the morning when I take it before I eat breakfast, and that's only normal, John, because it's an empty stomach, right? And I got to tell you, I'm one of those guys that I love a niacin flush, because after my niacin flush, I feel so much energized. You think I'm energized now? You should see me after niacin flush.
Well, in fact, there are some people that go out and get pure niacin to experience the flush.
And doctors prescribe it also, because in Ecuador, they do a lot of that. They do a lot of prescriptions for niacin. So it's a good thing. So it's a good thing that I had told my associate, who told his mom, and his mom says, wow, I got my first niacin flush. That's what she told him. And then I called John and said, John, do you have anything literature? And he sends me this letter of Dr. Nagasawa that had sent to him. This is what a niacin flush. So some of you don't have.
No, you're mistaken.
What was it? What was the letter? Sorry, I apologize.
I wrote that.
Oh, you wrote that. My God, it was so written well. I thought it was not. Okay, it was so. I apologize, folks. Let me repeat that. It's John Hobbs that wrote that. Okay, nobody else. But it's really written well. And if you don't have it, get a hold of us. Get a hold of John or Emily. Or it's really written well. And I sent it to this gentleman here, Diego, and he gave it to his father, who's a doctor, and he said, "Wow," he said, "this is amazing, amazing company. You've got everything in place." So, all right, next product. Oh, does anybody? Next product. Next is really good. So, what would you say if somebody were to say, what's the difference between your product, your glutathione product, and my glutathione product? And we're going to start with Csaba, because he's the chemist, he's the science. If somebody were to say that, and it doesn't matter what company has a glutathione product, what would you say to that, Mr. Csaba Levy, the chemist? And there is a movie on the chemist, right? But it's not Csaba's.
It's a pretty unique product. So when people talk about glutathione and the beneficial effect of glutathione in our body, they just think, oh, I can buy glutathione and just take a couple of scoops of spoons, and that will do the trick. As we mentioned, glutathione actually gets destroyed in the stomach, doesn't really get into your bloodstream, or only trace amounts. The same thing with food. We can't really get enough with the food to provide for all the exposure our body has. Now, there are companies who produce glutathione containing stuff. Now, there are ways to get glutathione into the bloodstream somehow, like put it somehow under your tongue or spray it in your nose and gets into the lung. There are ways, but first complicated, inconvenient. You can also inject it, like you can just go into the hospital and get an injection. They do work. The problem with injection, glutathione itself, if you try to get it into the body, it's a large molecule, 3 amino acids. It doesn't get into the cell. So it only works in the bloodstream, which is okay and cleans up the blood, but where you really need it is in the cells. So they don't really get into the cells. Some have different formulations which help them to get into the cell, like they cover it with, let's say, oil or fat kind of molecules, and they might be able to get into the cell. The problem being that you keep the glutathione, which is an amino acid, it's like egg or meat, and it's covered in a bowl of lipids or grease, and you store that, try to store egg or meat with grease, it gets stinky and rotten pretty fast. So they usually have a strong aroma in it, almost like a perfume or some strong taste added to it, so you don't feel the rotten eggs inside. And it has to be stored in fridge and stuff. Now, I looked also at the numbers, and the amount they increase glutathione levels is well below than any of our products. And I'm talking about the one which increases it the least amount, and ribosine increases it 300% more than the next best alternative. So these are way below, the prices are high, and they don't even come close to what our products do. So that's a quick summary.
And the greatest thing about it, Csaba, is, how does, because, people want to know this, is how does the ribosine get intact, bypasses how does it get into the body? Explain that 30-second version.
Correct. So the glutathione has a bottleneck. One of the amino acids is in short supply. The body can't produce that much or recycle other products in our body, and it can, but it takes longer. So the key is how to get cysteine into the body. Same thing, you can't eat cysteine, stomach destroys it. So you have to protect it, put it in an envelope and mail it to the stomach. So
yes.
We've got two different ways. One is the NAC, which is in some of the products, and the other one is ribosine. Ribose is a 5-carbon sugar, and what it does, it covers up the active portion of cysteine, which has an sulfur and oxygen portion, which is very active. That's what's sticking to other stuff and grabs the heavy metals and stuff. So this is protected by the sugar chemically, and it creates a chemical bond. So it goes through the stomach fine and intact, gets through the bloodstream, which is also a hostile environment for molecules like that, and small enough to get into the cell. And then the cell recognizes, oh, this is ribose, I need it in the ATP cycle to produce energy. And this is cysteine, I need it for glutathione production. And that's why nobody can be allergic to ribosine. It's impossible. You would be already dead if you would be, because your body already has these things in it. So that's the quick.
And it's not the quick version, it's it's the long version, but that's the version that I wanted you to hear, because it is the way that ribosine gets into our cells, and that's why we are the best company when it comes to glutathione. It is unbelievable. All right, so one more question, and this will be for. Oh, does anybody want to add anything about ribosine, Kim, or because I see Emily going like this?
Yes, if I can add quickly, I like to just a couple of things when people try to compare. So I always say, show me the science. That's a great thing, because not a lot of products have the science that we have. And then I like to say that that ribosine is patented. I think that is so amazing for our company. And then I also like to do you have any independent peer-reviewed articles and peer-reviewed studies? Because ribosine alone has 44 already and more to come. I've never seen another healthcare product that compares to that. And I think when someone tries to compare, it's like, I'm open, just try to show me if you have anything like this. And I haven't met a company yet that does. So go Max.
Absolutely. Anybody else wants to share a comment on that? Because it's a big one. One of the things that really makes a difference from our company to any other thing is what Emily just said, 44 peer-reviewed articles. John, 2 years ago, before COVID, we were probably maybe 37, 38, 39. I think just in the last 2 years, in COVID time, we got several new ones, right?
I'm not even sure the number was that high 2 years ago. There's been a significant number of new studies in the past 2 years.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to.
The interest level in the research community is just exploding.
Yes. Now, since we've got you, John. Why don't you talk about how somebody can do some research? Just brought me a new question on PubMed.gov. How you utilize it. Every time I ask you a question, it comes from PubMed.gov. Who owns PubMed.gov, and how can we use it effectively?
PubMed.gov, the .gov moniker on the end says that it's a U.S. government-controlled website, and it's operated by the U.S. National Institutes of Health. And it's an online library of peer-reviewed and published studies in the medical field. And I don't know how many millions of studies there are.
Millions.
But I do know that if you do a search, go to that website, a search box will pop up. If you type in the word glutathione by itself, you will find, I think, somewhere close to 170,000, the last time I looked, studies that make reference to glutathione. So you can then say, okay, glutathione plus some disease, and search that. And what you'll come back with is some number of studies that are about that disease that also talk about glutathione. And so you can go and look there and say, okay, what is the impact that glutathione has on this disease? And one of the things that we look at is, do these publications, these peer-reviewed and published studies, identify the fact that this particular disease is associated with low glutathione levels, which means they are experiencing oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is associated with every chronic disease that I'm aware of, and a whole lot of other conditions. And so if we can increase intracellular glutathione, we can reduce oxidative stress and therefore potentially have a positive impact on whatever the disease in question is. So that is the logic chain that applies. The thing we need to remember is that the human body is terribly complex, and each disease has its own pathology, its own way of functioning, and therefore simply increasing glutathione may have a big effect or a small effect, and it's difficult to predict what that might be from disease to disease.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing that I want to mention is what John said is the PubMed.gov. If you want to do some research, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, sickle cells, you can just put on the taskbar glutathione/forward, whatever disease, and it's going to pop up. And that's sometimes what I give to some of my customers, some of my associates. They want to have some background. Just send them the link, tell them to put glutathione and do the research. The last thing we're going to do is we've got 7 products, and I want to see the 20-second version for each and every one of you. And John, I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm going to start with Emily. I'm going to go Emily ATP, Infuse Kim. I'm going to do Csaba, Longevity, and Max 1, and then I'm going to finish with John with Max 357 and Switch, because I know you'll love those. So let's start with Emily. Emily, give me a 20-second version of how to take ATP, and no, that's it. How to take ATP. Yes, tell me about ATP.
So there's a couple different ways that I take ATP. Sometimes I take it as a shot, so I'll do about like literally a shot, a couple ounces of water, pour the ATP in, shake it around, and just down it. Sometimes I mix it into water with my Infuse and make it a drink and drink it like that. And then, like Csaba mentioned, you can put it under your tongue, and you can just suck on it basically and swallow it, and that'll give you a super quick boost. So I would say taking it directly under your tongue is the fastest. Then the shot, taking it like a shot, and then after that would probably be having it in the drink. And those are the few ways you can take it.
Emily, I got to tell you, I so many times, we were coming back from Toronto, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I would get tired, and I'd be talking to Csaba because he would want to make sure I'd get home safe with Ann Bushel, and I'd just put an ATP underneath my tongue, and within 7 minutes, I would like, okay, I'm good, I'm awake, I'm good. So it's really powerful. Kim Clark.
Mom's infamous doing that on late night drives home from my brother's. She does that too.
Absolutely. Infuse, I love it when people say 20,000 calories of food. Kim, in a 10-calorie sachet. Go ahead, Kim. Talk about Infuse. How do we take it?
I typically, you put it in a cup of water, like 500 mils, and drink it however quickly you can. Drink it over an hour, but it starts to oxidize when you're getting close to the hour. So if you want to get the full effect, then drink it probably within 20 minutes to a half an hour. And the 10-calorie piece is huge because you get 20,000 calories of food in a 10-calorie supplement. The thing I really like about it is it provides 70% of the vitamin and minerals required. And it's close to 100% bioavailable. So that's huge for people. Just like with the ATPs absorbed quickly, this is absorbed more quickly before it oxidizes. So it's very simple. I take it in the morning in, like, say, about 500 mils of water. And, you know, the fact that it enhances glutathione products, it's just another way to allow the ribosine to do its job and enhance glutathione, and the infuse will support that process.
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about GXL because that's the product I started with. Max GXL was the only product we had for several years at Max. And that's the product where my wife and my mom had a product experience in 72 hours. So you take 3 capsules in the morning, 3 capsules at noon. And if anybody is low glutathione for any, you know, in any, you know, if you're like 40 and above, 50, 60, you know, you're going down 15% per decade. You know, people see a difference and they come back for more. Csaba, Lendvay, Celgevity, and Max One. How do you take it?
Well, the prescribed dose is 2 times 2 for Celgevity. So you take 2 in the morning, 2 midday, or some people might take it in the night. I usually mix up my ATP infuse in a large glass. You may have seen I used to drink it. And then I use that to chug down the Celgevity. Max One is if you want a little bit more of the active ingredients, but you don't want all the other synergistic components. Celgevity has about a dozen of them. And maybe your stomach says enough is enough, and then you just take Max One on top. Normally, Max One, you take 1 in the morning, 1 midday, but you can use it as an add-on to the Celgevity. And although the company sticks to the prescribed numbers on the bottles, but I've seen people taking more than recommended, especially if they are fighting some issues, because the body just gets rid of the extra amount. So you can't really kill yourself with the Max One. It's not the product to do it. And the Celgevity as well, even though it has a dozen synergistic components, you can increase a little bit, so, or combine it with other product. People complain about pain in the night or arthritic pain and stuff. You may want to go to bed with some Max GXL, so you can combine with other products. But the prescribed is 2 times 2 for Celgevity and 2 times 1 for Max One.
Thank you. And the last but not least, Mr. John Hobbs, talk about 357 and switch.
Well, 357 is 3 omega fatty acids. Very good for things like eyes, nerves, cardiovascular system. The research on it indicates it helps in quite a number of areas. And you take 2 capsules in the morning and 2 capsules later in the day. The switch, this is the weight management piece. 2 capsules, 30 to 45 minutes before each of 3 meals a day. And the way the switch works is it activates something called the AMPK pathway in the body. Now, that has a whole bunch of benefits, but in terms of weight management, it does a few things. First, it reduces your hunger. And so by taking the capsules 30 to 45 minutes before you eat, you should be satisfied with less food on your plate, less food going into your mouth, which means less calories going into your body. And the biggest challenge for anybody who's trying to lose weight is hunger. And so this tackles hunger front and center. The second thing the AMPK pathway activation does is it promotes the conversion of fat to burn it out of your body. And this is without stimulants. This is part of the AMPK pathway activation. So you're burning fat. And I call switch not a weight loss system, but a fat loss system. And the third thing it does is it slows the process of converting carbohydrates to fat. So you take all those 3 things together, and you've got a very effective adjunct to a weight loss program. However, you got to remember it's not magic. It's basic science. If I take 2 capsules before each meal and I continue to put 25 or 100 or 3,000 calories into my mouth, I'm not going to lose weight. The whole idea is to reduce your caloric intake and have the other 2 features try to get rid of excess fat, because excess body fat is a health issue. You're on mute, Mike.
That's going to go a lot better. Perfect. This is a wrap. I want to say thank you, but before we go, I would like you to take maybe 10, 15 seconds. Any last word? Let's start with Kim, Emily, Csaba, and finish with John.
If I could add the new website, the riboscysteine.com, has been phenomenal in how we can communicate to people in the health industry and just people who are just looking for that detailed research. And it's been very helpful for me, just like I say, in opening up the conversation and really not having to say much, because the support is there from the PubMed.gov articles. Everything is there, so it's just really a good addition.
If I could add, just kind of say that I think the products are so amazing that it's great. We don't have to convince people. There's no point in trying to convince people. As soon as someone tries the product or reads the science, the evidence is there, which I think is amazing for this product. All the products.
Perfect.
Yes, seems we have something for everybody. If you are struggling with fat control issues or overweight problems, we have products when your body is full of toxins like heavy metals and so on, potentially stored in that extra fat. You need the extra pickup, you need the extra energy, you need more strength to fight whatever we are exposed to, like sort of an immunity boost and a healthy lifestyle. It's a great addition to your life, and once you try it, you have a hard time stopping it.
John.
The science is solid. The benefits are real.
Perfect. In closing is this. If you're healthy and you want to remain healthy, take our products. If you're aging and you want to stay youthful, take our products. If you have health challenges and you're recovering, take our products. If you're struggling with your health and you're running out of options, take our products. It's important to note that our products are supplements. They are taken alongside your regular medication and do not treat, cure, or prevent diseases. All they do is improve glutathione within the cells, and when that happens, health can be remarkably improved. The testimonials we see on these products are amazing. We don't make any promises with any one of our products. We simply say commit for 90 days and try and see. You will have your own testimonials and you will come back for more. My name is Mike Lebrun. I want to thank John Hobbs, Csaba Lendvay, Emily Clark, and Kim Clark for doing this. I love you, appreciate you. I hope this was wisdom, and let's go out there and talk to the world. Let's make it a better place. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.